Round your city, round the clock.
All right, and we're back.
Okay, we're back. Episode 6.
6, yeah.
Hales and Twos. I'm Tim.
I'm Shay.
This is Joe Hale.
Yeah,
we had a little miscommunication there, a little technical
we
difficulty.
forgot to record the Zoom. We got we only got 3 minutes in, but still, I mean, it's not, Anyways,
Yeah.
Joe, tell us about yourself. Who's Joe Hale?
I'm a photographer, originally from upstate New York, near Shay's neck of the woods. Currently a senior in college, graduating in 9 days. I shoot running mostly on the professional level, but also just kind of whatever comes my way, whatever is around. And yeah, just like meeting people, hanging out, and the sport of running.
Awesome. So you were talking earlier about how you shoot stuff outside of running. Because obviously everyone knows JKH photo. I was going to say, I don't know. You probably don't want to say, but would you agree that you are probably the most well-known or the most notable running photographer in the space right now?
No, honestly, no. Maybe in the college space because I'm college aged.
Yeah,
but there's
that makes sense.
people who have way more followers than me that are on the global scale. I just happen to do college because I'm one of the younger, more prominent younger people. So that's probably why.
Yeah. But you're definitely the leader of that younger kind of
I try to be.
Yeah.
I really enjoy doing that and teaching kids. So it's a fun part of what I do.
I know everyone waits for the JKH photo drops after every meet. I remember after Penn, 4 people sent me the drive. I'm I got it. Thank you. I was Joe texted me my photos, but thank you.
Yeah, that thing just flies around like crack.
Yeah,
yeah. Yo,
it's
you got that drop?
Yeah.
Where's the drop?
It's there'll be people that I'm I have no idea who you are. And they'll post photos. I'm I try and trace back who I could have sent it to and who they could have sent it to get to that person. But sometimes I'm I have no idea how you got these.
That's funny. Speaking of you and photos in colleges, we have been studiously following the chronicles of whoever won't pay you for that one photo that's still...
University of New Mexico.
Oh, dude, had you said it on Twitter?
I tweeted out Mountain West.
I saw Mountain West, and I didn't see... So you just put that out here for the first time.
The Lobos, man.
That's big to know. Breaking news. Yeah, so University of New Mexico won't pay Joe Hale.
Yeah, no shade at their coaches. It's all the athletic department. But they just ripped a photo of Charlotte Purdue last year at NCAAs. I've been emailing this guy ever since. It's probably been 3 months since I last emailed them. I emailed them when I fired off that tweet again.
I think you just get a lawsuit going is what you got.
I was I always throw it with my legal team, which happens to be me Googling how to sue somebody. But I just people always steal photos because there's not really rules around it, but you can't really do that. So most people are pretty apologetic and either delete it or just fulfill an invoice pretty quickly. But this guy, for some reason, just doesn't want to. Dude, I know your athletic department has $300 sitting around somewhere to just pay this invoice. But he's no, it's at our legal counsel. It's at our legal counsel. And we won't do anything about it. But
that's brutal. Yeah.
I'll still bother him. I'll send him an email every once in a while.
Didn't the city of Trenton put up one of your photos?
Yeah, I saw that.
That was a really, really funny thing. So it was a photo with Thingmo from NCAAs, and and one day I'm just scrolling Twitter, and on this town hall,
it was the whole building, right?
They're unveiling this 10-foot, 15-foot banner.
Yeah,
and I was wait a second, I scrolled in, zoomed in, I was that's my fucking photo. But I met a thing at the Armory. We've been homies ever since. So I met you, Tim. I met a ton of younger kids in high school when I was working there. And she was oh my God, I'm so sorry. I promise. I was I'm not mad at you, but yeah, that was funny when I was scrolling through one day.
Were you able to invoice the city of Trenton on that one?
I got in touch with a representative and was compensated for.
There we go.
See, New Jersey isn't that bad.
Because I'm I follow, New Jersey. Hey, don't say that bad. All right. I follow a bunch of New Jersey social media accounts. I'm just going through one day, and I mixed it up at first with I assumed I was looking at a running account, and then I realized it was the state Twitter or something like that.
Yeah, and that was wild. I forget. It was just someone liked it in my feed, and I was wait.
Yeah, and then I'm
banner.
I'm that editing looks familiar. That's Joe's style. And then I go on your account, and I saw you probably tweeted something about it, or someone tweeted something about it. I was that's crazy.
Yeah,
I am appreciative because most people are easy to work with. Most people just make a genuine mistake, don't realize you're supposed to pay for those things. But it's
as a photographer and running and someone whose photos get around so easily just because it's a Dropbox kind of thing. How do you as a photographer like your things to be credited? Is someone just tagging you enough or someone putting in in their caption photo by Joe Hale, kind of stuff like that?
the way I look at it is like athletes I always get for free. Like I know they're not really making that much money. They don't have money to pay. I don't really care. Most of them are my friends. As long as you like tag and put it in the caption or whatever, I don't really care about that. For like, it gets tricky when it's like teams because like some teams are just like literally an athlete running an Instagram page for their team, and some actually have like brands backing them. But I like to get compensated for that, and then like brands obviously like need to pay and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a good point. So I guess before we get into it, we put out the little Ask Joe Hale some questions, and I can say, did you look at the questions, Shay?
Yeah.
You have probably garnered the best responses for that because we've been doing that with a bunch of people. Like people really want to know some stuff from you.
All right. I hope it's good stuff because whenever I put it up on my Instagram, it's just like the same old stuff. Like people ask me if you want to know how I got into shooting, there's plenty of resources on that. There's plenty of resources on what camera I use. Don't DM me those things.
That's like
I'm literally reading right now. How did you get into photography?
Yeah, we just weren't gonna ask that, but that's like the one thing we've like established that we will never want to do using whatever we're trying to build here is like we're never gonna be a sit here and be like where are you from? How did you start doing what you do? Like
it's like you answer it once and it's like, oh, really have to go over this again. Like,
it's like everyone we've done, whether it be you or an athlete or someone like that. It's like they've done that before. They've done that interview before. Like with Sam, I was like, I can look up Sam Parsons and find 10 different articles.
Favorite question.
Yeah, on like how he did you play soccer before you started running, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there were some interesting ones that aren't. How did you get into photography with that? It's not even that smiley of a smiley face.
It's like a half smiley.
Yeah.
It's like
it's weird. Anyway, speaking of Sam's gotten a lot of name drops on this podcast so far, even the one that he wasn't on, or the ones that he wasn't on. But Sam asked the worst athlete / brand / school to shoot for.
School, got to be New Mexico because I still have that pending invoice. Brand, I haven't really had that many. Let's see, bad experiences with brands. No. Trying to think. Not many bad experiences with brands and athletes. Professional athletes. Don't think any bad experiences. No, I mean everyone in the running community is pretty nice. I've actually never met someone that genuinely doesn't like me. So I'm trying to find someone that like openly is my enemy that I can have a rivalry with. So if you don't like me, please clip this right here and make it known that I want someone that doesn't like me to reach out and tell me that they don't.
Please hate Joe Hale.
I want someone to
We're
like
begging you.
In case I have a rival.
Joe wants some enemies. All right, this is a good one. Kind of talking about your work with Tin Man specifically, and it's a little bit of an incendiary topic with Tin Man, but someone asked, could you feel the energy change when Tim Schwartz left the team as their coach?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, you could tell like when I got there, the relationship was definitely like pretty fragile, and you could tell like as shit was going on. I mean, those guys were like, they're all very emotional people, and like their running is very dependent on how well they're running and their running's all dependent on how like they're feeling in their day-to-day life. And you could tell like it would just pile on top of each other and on top and on top, and Drew would get hurt and Sam would get tweak something. And without a doubt, like the change was much needed, and the backlash, while it sucked, I think they're much better on the other side now.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they're doing a lot better than they were during that time period of their lives.
Definitely a rough couple of weeks though in there.
I think this last question will ask from the little Q&A. I think it transitions well into something, at least I don't know about you, but something I wanted to talk about and get your perspective on, because I think you're kind of leading the charge with this. But someone asked, how do you feel about the new generation of photographers and creators, and what advice do you have? I think obviously they're not asking about new gen specifically, but the upswing and people creating content, even with us sitting here doing it.
I'm pumped about it. Like, I feel like I started shooting just like my local high school meets in probably 2017, junior year of high school. Yeah. And I was like, I could count on two hands the amount of running photographers that existed, like from high school to like that were dedicated running photographers. And now every month we have a group of 50 kids that come together and just like want to hear and learn and build a community and hang out, which I think is super cool. I mean, like, there's space for it. I mean, running's like one of those sports where it's everywhere. I mean, track and field's the biggest sport at the high school level in the United States. And like those people, like if they're brought in at a young age, like that's why they get involved. Like that's why I got involved when I was a 7th grader. The seniors on my team, they were like homies and wanted to hang out with me and taught me about running and got me involved. And like that type of stuff is why I do this today. It's because I had someone older. So I try and do that. I mean, when I started shooting, Justin Britton, he's a homie of mine. He was always answering my DMs, answering questions, helping me. He still does. Like if I have a pricing question, hit him up right away, first person, always gets back to me. And like, I just want to build that relationship with other people coming up because I think helped me a lot and I want to help other kids a lot.
It's cool. So kind of moving from that, hashtag good for the sport has become probably the biggest trend on Twitter right now for running in that debate. Obviously, I think with the on and the Oregon 4x-mile debacle and stuff like that. So let's problem solve a little bit here. How do you think we fix the sport? Because
we ask
everyone this because I think it's the most pressing issue in the sport we have today is that we're probably on the decline.
And you're someone that's like in the media aspect, which is we think is like part of the problem. Well, I think
it's part of the solution.
Like teams need to have, you tweeted this and it blew up. Yeah. Teams need to have like a dedicated media team.
I think that's like easy. Let's see. So realistically, that's, I think that one of the easiest ways to start is every team just hires a photographer. You're there. I mean, when I was working with Tin Man, one, it blew my platform up, but two, like the amount of content we could churn out in a day, like we'd have like a photo story every day of the workout that we could just rock from. And they, like athletes, automatically had a Dropbox of 150 photos they could throw up at any point. Whereas like if they ever need content, whatever. And like through Tin Man's and what we were doing there, we got so many random people that like we didn't even know were runners, like would hit us up. There's this guy, he's a photographer, Joe Greer. He has like 650,000 followers on Instagram, just found us through like scrolling one day. And I was like a huge running fan and like brought him into the professional scene. There's just a bunch of random people. And I think like Tin Man does a good job of it. I think Cole and Cooper do a good job of it, of like putting themselves out there. A lot of the stuff that Ben does. And even like other teams are starting, like Brooks Beast, they just hired an assistant coach not too long ago, who's half of his job is coaching, half of it's being a content creator for the team and like putting stuff together. Bowerman, they have Courtney who crushes photos, and then they have like a dedicated brand team that works on doing that. And I think from a professional aspect, if you have that person and that group, that's their dedicated purpose, nothing performance side, like it just helps. It's literally just marketing department. Every sports team has a marketing department dedicated to bringing it to bigger eyes and more viewers. Like that's what they do. Yeah.
We just saw Reebok like dissipate. I mean, I think it's because of that. They should have done that. And
they didn't showcase their team at all.
Justin Knight's sick. Marty, like he gets a lot of press, but like still could go so much more in depth than like the start of his story. Like Josette, one of the best runners in the country.
Colin Benny.
In the world, like what do we know about her? Not a lot, because there's not someone there. Like stuff like that.
Yeah. What do you think? Because that's what the media needs to do, or these teams need to do. But what do you think the athletes need to do specifically? Like how to like, given that the sport is predicated on how the athletes do, like what do they need to do? What do we need to do? Off the track. Yeah. On and off the track. Obviously on the track, running as fast as possible helps.
Maybe a hot take. I think athletes are doing fine. They're running faster than ever. They're like making a name for themselves the best they can. I think it's mostly off the track things. I think like community-based events, that's a big thing. Like anytime, the best meets I've ever been to aren't like USA trials. Those are like fun, but the most exciting ones are the ones where it's the Hoka Long Island miles, it's the Delaware miles, it's I haven't been, but the Sir Walter Milers, where there's like people are crowded from lane 4 to 8 on the track, just filling it up. That's how you get people excited. You're bringing the highest caliber of athlete with any person that wants to see it. The Nike 5K that Bowerman did, like that type of stuff is how you really get people engaged and make people true fans when they see the sport at the highest level, like inches from them.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's an interesting perspective, kind of, at least coming from me. I think the athletes do need to do more, because I think it's not just the teams or the media that needs to help market the athletes, but I think the athletes have to help market themselves.
They for sure do, but at the end of the day, I forget who was talking about this, but like the athletes are there. Their job is, yes, to do social media, but I think it's predominantly there to run. Like the team should have, in baseball, you have like LeBron tweeting and stuff and like doing his campaigns or whatever, but like the Lakers social team and media team is doing most of the work. Like,
yeah.
At the end of the day, LeBron just needs to get on the court and go crazy.
Like if he wants to do side hustles and have his own TV shows, like the barbershop, whatever, and all that other stuff, like that's on him to do. But like Duncan Robinson, he has the podcast, he plays, but like that's because he wants to do that. It's a creative outlet for him. Like he's not doing that because I don't think because the Miami Heat's like, you have to have a podcast.
Yeah.
No, it's like they have their own marketing department where that's dedicated for them to do that, and they just ball out and do whatever else they need to do.
Yeah, I think that more so stems from like less of them needing to do specific media related things and more so just like if they have a personality or not. Like some of the most notable runners are people with personalities.
Yeah.
Like Sha'Carri, obviously the failed drug test was a big deal, but I think it wouldn't have been as big of a deal if she didn't have the personality and like the aura around her that she does, like the whole boisterous kind of thing.
Yeah. Also, in running, it's so easy to like, I don't know, break away from the mold because everyone's like a runner.
Yeah, I mean, runners have a specific personality type, and it's the more reserved, quiet work behind the scenes thing.
At the same time, I agree with that, but I think also, like, at its core, a lot of runners are just kind of boring people.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think
saying,
it just attracts those people to the sport. I absolutely agree. Yeah.
And that's why it's so
Like,
cool.
there are some engaging personalities, but a lot of people at the core are just like kind of boring people.
Running is generally incredibly boring, and the people are incredibly boring sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think that comes down to why the biggest stars, like we talk about every episode, or Craig, who we're going to film with, like, those are the people that have personalities. Like, if Craig Engels was a stereotypical normal runner, no one would care. A guy who gets fourth at a few.
And they naturally rise to the top.
Exactly. Like, no one cares about the guy who hasn't, like, Craig hasn't made an Olympic team. But you would think, based on his success in growing himself as a notable name, you know, like you would think he's an Olympic champion based on the amount of people. I mean, the dude was on, pardon my take, the Barstool pod I'm listening to. Like, no non-Olympian is getting that in track.
Doing that.
Yeah.
No one is doing that.
So.
But we're doing it. So.
Here we are, talking some shit. About to drop clickbait the shit out of this Emma Abrahamson one. You'll see.
It's a good episode.
You'll see. It was a great episode. But first clickbait is just coming heavy with the questions. Where do you want to go? How do you see?
I want to hear this.
We've been asking everyone that we have on, like, what do you want? What are goals? What do you want to achieve?
Honestly, like, kind of get out of running. Not completely. I still want to do like the big stuff, but like besides like the Olympics, like once you get like most of the way there's most of the stuff you've done in running. I want to get out to Africa. I want to do a big Africa trip and like either shoot a campaign or just focus on some athletes. That would be really sick. But afterwards, like, I've been recently really getting into just like culture and fashion. Like, I've been doing some work for this publication, and they're like kind of just culture. It's like a complex kind of thing. And like, I want to get more involved with that. Like, a lot lately, I've just been like messaging like TikTokers and influencers that are just like lifestyle people and been like, hey, if you want to shoot, let's do it. Like, just trying to branch out and meet, like, because I mean, I don't know. I'm a people person. I like meeting people. Like, that's my whole thing with shooting. That's like one of the main reasons I do it. And like, you can just meet some really cool people. And I've met a bunch of cool people in running, but like, outside that, I think there's just so much potential. There's also like not a ton of money in running. So like, my career wise, I'm not sure how sustainable it is to be a running photographer. I mean, everyone that you think is a running photographer full time actually does like a ton of other campaigns, whether it be culture, lifestyle, fashion. So that's also why in the sports realm, I'd love to do NBA. That's like my favorite sport to watch, or MLB. I've always been a huge baseball guy. So shooting an MLB and NBA game are both on the to-do list. But like for a full-time thing, I think following an NBA team around for a year would be like one of the coolest jobs ever. That's like kind of what I did for Tin Man, but on like a global scale with the NBA would be so sick.
Yeah.
Don't you know, Tim? Don't you know a guy that does that?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll have to put you in touch with someone. You know Aaron Lacerna? Shout out Aaron. Hopefully Aaron listens to the podcast. We'll talk a little bit off camera about it. I'll put you on. He works with the G League. He's been doing a lot of media production for the G League. Been working on some amazing stuff and works in culture too. And that's something that Shay and I have, I think, talked about. Like, if this is ever going to work, if our careers in running are ever going to work, it's going to at some point, to achieve the level of success that we both really want, it's going to have to transcend running at some point.
Because the cap of running is like, it's not high compared to everything.
You can use running as the springboard to jump off and do those things, but that's it.
Yeah.
A lot of like influencers that I found that run use it as like a relatable thing. Like everyone can go out and run a 5K if they want to on a day. And like, it doesn't matter how fast or slow you're doing it. You're still running 3 miles. Like, I think a lot of people use that as a way to relate to people, and they build on top of that, where it's like, that's how you can foster a community. Like, what's his face? There's this guy I follow who's just like some random dude. He's a hobby jogger, and he just posts his run every day. And then it's like stacking all the other shit he does on top of it. But every day starts with a run. And that's like how it brings people together. Yeah.
It's so natural at its core that, you know, anyone can relate to it.
So you just shot for Gary Vee. Is that correct? Kind of.
Not too long ago. So yeah, that's actually that publication. It's It's called 1:37 p.m. It's like a complex type thing, but kind of through the lens of entrepreneurship and now like NFTs. But it's been super fun. I mean, they have like every connection in the book, so I've been trying to get more involved with them and just meet cool people and do cool shit.
You got some NFTs you worked on. I know someone specifically sitting to my left bought one.
Yeah.
That's project has yet to be released. It's like kind of my back partner, but Shay owns one. Shay
I use
got
the
them before they
Kenenisa
released.
Bekele NFT.
One day sat in Uncommon Grounds in Saratoga with Shay, former podcast guest Aiden Tooker, and our other homie Aiden Canavan, and talked NFTs for probably like 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
That
I'm
was
sure
crazy.
this kid probably fell down the rabbit hole of that
Like
conversation.
No,
we were
Aiden,
going,
dude,
we were
Aiden was
going
crazy.
for a while, and then we looked and was like, "Holy shit! It's already like 3 o'clock." But after that, I was like pretty hyped up on NFTs, and I've gone and I've made a couple. I don't know if I'll finish it.
Yeah.
I think they're cool. I just need to find a really good application for it. My original idea was baseball cards with photos I've taken of athletes, but I don't know if I love that idea. So I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board.
I think those are so cool. Those baseball cards, I thought that was so cool.
I'll probably end up doing some NFT project. I just got to think on it some more. I didn't love that idea.
Yeah, we saw the Fred Curley ones, which we started talking about it because of that. Those were cool.
Yeah, Fred Curley's also the man. That guy's so cool.
He's sick. He's so sick.
I love his energy. He I think could be a rising star in running.
Yeah,
Like with his
he's got the
personality and just the aggressiveness of the like,
I think it's also really interesting. Sprinting and distance running are two separate communities, and when you have a star that bridges from sprinting into distance, that's when you know they're like really engaged.
Yeah.
Like distance runners love Fred Curley, and that's not something you get all the time. Which is
because he's just so like, number one, he's always about it. Whatever it is, like he's ready to come at someone's throat. Two, his range is so big. People are talking about like what could he run for an 8, which is kind of crazy that we're a 100-meter guy. We're like, what could he put down in 800, or what he could long jump.
Yep.
And then his personality, like his tweets are funny, and he just I don't know. He seems
There's one Instagram post of him just like shooting guns in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, dude, like.
And it just makes sense. It's just like, all right, like nothing surprises me with Fred Curley. Fred Curley could post a picture hanging out with LeBron and Michael Jordan, and I wouldn't be surprised.
No,
He could like say he's gonna run like 17.5 in the 2. I'll be like, yeah, that makes
he
sense.
will. Yeah, he's funny. Is there anyone in particular, like you said you obviously want to expand outside of running and outside of running? Anyone in particular you want to work with? There are some pipe dreams there.
Like brand wise or people wise, you mean?
Either or, whatever you got.
Brand like the Boston Celtics. That's my favorite NBA team. Probably them to be like their in-house media person.
Awesome.
With one like runner that I want to work with, obviously Jakobs pretty sick. Like Kipchoge's pretty sick. Those guys like, but I think just the European scene. There's a lot of cool people in Europe that don't get as much press as in the United States. At least like that we see. I think it was really interesting actually on the Sound Running meet. They're talking to Jakob and they're like, "Do you think that track's like not popular in the U.S.?" He's like, "Look around, like look at all these people that are here. Of course it's popular." But it's like I think it's really interesting because like there's like a Sidious mag here. There's all these like random running specific outlets. I don't think there's a lot of those in Europe. I think it's more like general mass media coverage. But let's see, Galen, like just the people that are like kind of in the shadows but still big stars, I think would be really sick.
The ones that don't have a lot of it will have a lot of attention but don't allow that access.
Exactly, yeah. The people that are limited access.
Yeah.
Like
that
Mo Farah would be sick.
Yeah.
Stewie McSwain, man. That'd be
like those type of guys where it's like they're on the Diamond League every week, but no one really knows anything about them.
Yeah.
Like
dude, Selimon Barriga. Imagine going out there and doing that. Like just seeing these guys' lives.
Yeah. He's gonna live like NN Running does, like that team, I think they do a decent job of pumping content out to show you a little bit of those guys' lives. But I also think there could be a lot more exposure. And maybe that just comes with the personality of like a Kipchoge who's like not gonna let someone. I think it's
also tough, the cultural differences. Like what you might think is cool is like not what they're also doing in Africa on their farms and like when their whole life is just recovery and running. Like it would be interesting though. I would love to see like someone from NN or an American go to NN after like going through the NCAA system and like seeing how they react to it. Like I think that would be a really sick thing. I'm not sure if there's anyone that they would ever take, but either someone from their culture coming into American culture and joining like, I mean, it'll be interesting with Helen O'Beary. She's like a good example.
Yeah.
She'll be moving out to Boulder and going to the OAC, and it'll be such an interesting culture shock to see. I would love to see like a documentary of her embedding yourself in the team and like what's that's like from like just two different cultures.
Yeah, that's a little free idea out there for a young videographer.
Andy Weeding.
Yeah, and Andy Weeding. Even like the I think Tracklandia did it. That behind the scenes with Rupp last year. You remember that?
Elevation.
Yeah, it was Elevation Zero. Okay.
0M or something.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was so well done.
Yeah, those things though, I feel like I only see 2 episodes and they're done.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
Yeah.
the series, and I'm like, I want to see more. Like,
Yeah, give me a season of something.
Yeah.
Follow someone for a season because their production is so good.
I want to see Galen Reps day in the light. Like I want to see him walk
Yeah.
around.
I would love to see that too. Like, he's a father. How many people know that? Like,
Yeah. I didn't know he was a dad, and then you on the NXN, where like doing strides and stuff, and his kids run up, and he's like picking up like 3 children, and I was like, who are these kids? And I realized it's him.
maybe because we're just young and I don't hang out with people that usually have kids, but it's so strange to think of like some runners as like parents.
Yeah.
Like Josh Thompson also has like 2 kids, and like there's so many runners that have kids, and I'm like, that's such a strange thing.
Kip too has a kid.
Chalimo, dude.
Yeah. Chalimo's a kid, but Kip too was in college, had a kid.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's an interesting dynamic that these, and often overlooked. I feel like that these are real people. Like it's not just like, run.
You don't think that you think that they just run all day and do nothing. Yeah. Mostly because a lot of them do, but like a lot of people also have like careers and lives that they do, and they also just do this as like their side hustle or like a part-time thing.
That's something that I wanted to like. I've talked with other people that have watched this before, and it's like people want to see, like, what do these runners do outside of running? You know, like that's something that's never really shown. It's just like run. Even like I remember watching like a Ches, might have been Flow Track, like workout Wednesday thing, and they showed it, and they just made it seem like, and maybe this is his life, but it was just like run, go hop in the Normatec boots and recover, eat.
Another free idea. Someone just go to Flagstaff and just film everything. There's such a cool like community there, from NAU to just a bunch of semi-pros to like actual groups. Just go like document all that.
Joe is just throwing out free content right now.
Someone sponsor that or pay me to do it, and let's just make something.
We'll get Hills and Twos will grow to our media conglomerate dreams, and we'll start throwing money out.
Yeah, once we're competing with Vanner Media.
No, maybe I'll have to hit up Gary about it. But there's such an interesting community there. I feel like that's like Boulder's cool. There's a lot of groups there, but it's not very unified. It's like, it's very cliquey. Like if you see someone there, it's always like, hey, what's up? But it's not like that anything deep. But like you go to Flagstaff and you look at those videos that Stephen Haas posts, and it's just like a million people.
I'm like, these people are in different groups, different training, and they're all working out together. I'm like, I think it's pretty cool.
Or like on Lake Mary Road, you just see a million people running together. And it's like, I don't know how Sam and when we always had a joke of like most random training group of the week. Cause in Flagstaff, you see the most random people working out together. It's like Mo Farah, like Jacob Thompson, and like somebody else. I'm like, how did this come together to do that?
Yeah,
like,
we always bring up the Boulder versus Flag conversation, and it always circles back to Flag. Like,
it seems to be what everyone thinks. I think Boulder was the place of the past. It's like the 80s, 90s, early 2000s.
Seems to be, if you're going for a training camp, Flag without a doubt. But if you want to live, Flag kind of
Boulder's more of like a traditional city kind of thing.
Yeah. Boulder's definitely more of a place to live permanently. Flag's a good place to go for a month and a half.
Yeah. It's also in the middle of nowhere, like, or Flag kind of.
Yeah, it's a cool area though. I thought it was. I mean, obviously beautiful.
Oh, yeah,
I gotta get out there. I still never been. I've driven through, but never been.
That's what I haven't been to Boulder. You know, I want to check out Boulder. I feel like I can't give a full opinion on this conversation until I'm spent time in Boulder. Not that my time in Flag was very long, but okay. We have a very pressing question that we want to ask you.
Hit me.
What do you think of Jakobs tattoos?
Dude, they're cool. It's like you forget that this kid's like 20 years old, but like you see him with like random like stick figures on his arms. I'm like, oh,
looks like he runs at NAU.
Yeah, like that's like he's our age, and like he just happened to become the fastest runner in the world. So once again, like mentally, I'm just like, oh, he's 27.
Yeah.
Like, no, he's a 22-year-old kid who I think he's engaged, but like plays Xbox and draws like random things on his arm and tattoos him there for his whole life. Like it's sick.
That's someone who I want to see what their real life is really like, because they have the TV show, but that just shows just running and not like obviously pretty fake.
I'd love to spend go out to Norway and just hang out for a couple of weeks. That'll be pretty fun.
Yeah, and even see the whole dynamic of like his dad's not coaching him anymore, and he's 20, 21, he's engaged. Strange
upbringing. Like I think about the kids that Shay and I went to high school with, and like the ones that were like training from a young age versus the ones who just started in high school. And like, obviously, if you start training when you're like 10 years old, you're going to be way better at competitive running. And like, it must be so interesting, like growing up and the first thing you did. Like, I played every sport in the book, sucked at all of them, but I like tried lacrosse, basketball, baseball, like everything basically but football. Like, I can't imagine growing up and the first thing you're doing is like, all right, you're gonna do 800 reps.
Yeah, it's just
Like,
it's crazy. I mean,
it's such a like I don't know seesaw. Like it could pan out to Olympic medals, like it has with Jakob, or he could crash and burn, and his life is
like,
gonna be.
what is your purpose after you've never tried?
Right.
I would argue it probably already has panned out. Like, let's say it crashes and burns tomorrow. Like, he's he's set up. It panned out. You got your gold. Like, he's panned out.
Now.
Obviously, I'm sure he wants
to
it.
the world. That definitely panned out.
Yeah, panned out for sure.
But even that dynamic of like, you ever see like any clips of that old show?
Oh,
remember there was one like,
show?
His dad like screaming at him when they're like, because he missed a split in indoor track. I'm like, that is so unhealthy and toxic. But then again, I don't know what the family dynamic is like behind closed doors.
He seems to handle it like it's not like personal.
Yeah.
It's his dad being a coach.
Yeah, being able to separate that coach-father dynamic.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure there's been arguments.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
There's definitely been arguments. Yeah. I don't know how much we could probably get into this, but I think something that a lot of people, our few listeners that we have, I'm just kidding. We have more than I thought we would at this point. We do have more because the YouTube numbers aren't it because people can't see the like podcast streaming service numbers. Like they can see our YouTube numbers. But anyway, this is something that I know, you're involved in because you've built a lot of personal relationships with these runners. Like you're not just a photographer, but you're like their friend as well, and you spend time with them. And I feel like people don't really see that like these runners are, try to be normal people, like behind the scenes of running. Like they're social. Like these people hang out. Like I'm sure you've been out with some good runners. Like I was at the post NCAA XC party. It's like you just see people there and you're like, you forget that these are not just like dudes towing the line.
Especially if they're in college, like they're also
they got assignments due on Monday.
Saturday. They live the same lives. And I feel like that's something that's pretty overlooked. I don't know.
But, yeah, I mean, if you're in like Eugene over any championship, go to the Duck after, and like athletes will come through and like celebrate their successes. It's not just like could have the Olympics going up and they'll still go get a drink or two because it's like I'm proud of what I did and I'm going to celebrate that.
Yeah, it's funny that I just feel like people forget that these athletes are like normal people. Even like post, was it Mill? I don't know if I've been there a few times, but what was the place behind the Armory that closed down? Coogan's.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Yeah, I remember being in there like post indoor nationals or Millrose or something like that. And just
after Millrose, it was super cool. I went in years ago, but the year before or the last Millrose, and then it closed during COVID.
Oh, that was too bad. I wish they stayed.
Well, yeah, COVID just kind of got in their way there because they were already struggling before COVID to stay open.
That place was amazing.
Yeah, it was so cool. Being like a little high school kid walking in there, getting dinner with my
jerseys all on the wall. Yeah.
Have you done any work with Newberry Park?
Not directly, but interesting story. So I've known Sean since I was a freshman in high school. He's a camp counselor at my cross country camp that I went to.
Oh, really?
So shout out to running school. So went there as a high schooler from 9th grade to senior year. And now I work there every summer. But so he was a counselor, and there was this kid. So I'm a Newberry Park OG. I'm gonna throw that out there. I knew Newberry Park before it was cool. There was this kid,
Tom Ragone,
also Newberry Park OG. There was this kid who we hung out with all week, and he was just this kid that Sean brought out from California. And we're like, oh, and he's like, yo, like our team is gonna be mad good in like 2 years. You just watch. I'm like, all right, dude. Like Sean's like a pretty charismatic dude, and he would always say like he'd be like, oh, my like 8th graders could cook any team in New York. And we're like, all right, guy, like New York's pretty good at running. Little did we know it was Leck Young, Aaron Solomon, and Leo Young, but and then Colin actually came as a freshman, and he was already good. He ran like 4:16 as a freshman, and it was like, and everyone was like, yo, and Sean was like, yo, you better watch this guy because he's gonna be a beast. And little did I know, 4 years later, he's running 3:57 as like an 18-year-old and 3:39. But so so I just hung out with them there. I've never been out to California or done any work with them, but it's always nice to see them at meets. Say what's up to Sean. He's always a super nice guy to me.
That's cool. So you guys want to play a game? Play game, Shad?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not going to give you guys options because we've done something similar in the past where I gave you options to pick from. I'm going to let you kind of freeball it right now.
It's going to be pick a dream roster team?
Yeah. So we'll start with Joe gets first pick, and then we'll just snake draft it. So we'll kind of flip back and forth. So Joe gets first pick. Joe, who's your brand? Who's sponsoring your team?
We're we're building a team. Like, am I the GM or am I an athlete?
You're the GM.
All right.
You own everything. You're making the big decisions.
I am gonna go with Lululemon.
Ooh, I like that answer. That was a great answer. Shay, what do you
All
got?
my athletes wear whatever they're most comfortable in
Yeah.
for shoes.
I was gonna go with Vuari. That's kind of similar to Lululemon, but also Janji. They make some really good shorts.
Yeah.
But I don't
You
know.
gotta think about spikes factor into that.
They
now.
can make them.
Okay.
On made them.
They did. Who's your coach, Shay?
Coach.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just gonna put. Oh, this is kind of tricky. I know Bonzi. I'd put Bonzi in there because I know because he gets it done.
Yeah, he does get it done. Absolutely. Okay, Joe, who's your coach?
I'll go Dathan.
Okay, I like that. Who is your 5K, 10K guy or girl?
Shelby.
What do we got?
5K, 10K guy or girl?
Either way, yeah.
All right. First of all, switch. I'm going Patagonia. Okay.
Okay.
With Bonzi on the head. That's like a dream team.
It's a dream team.
Main athlete in the
Your main distance, like
star.
Distance, yeah. You'll build around them, in your own time.
Oh my God, that's tricky. I just want to think of all the options.
I'll go Grant. Actually, I'm gonna take back Shelby. I'll go Grant.
Okay, Grant.
Here for clean court.
There you go. What do you got, Shay?
Should I just go?
I'm
going to take Stewie McSwain. I'm going to take him.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this an American team or where are we based?
Anything at all. You're just based wherever you want. Pick your running city. Joe's pick.
Let's pick a city. Yeah.
New York. We'll throw it. We'll start an East Coast team.
New York needs a team. Shay and I, we're getting cranking. We're starting Athletics East.
Good.
What we got, Shay?
I think we're going to be in, what's the Switzerland place? St. Moritz.
Moritz.
Yeah, I think we're going to be based there.
That's cool. Okay. Who is your steepler?
Parker Stokes. Easy.
Joe, who's your steepler?
Isaac Updike. Emma Coburn.
Emma. Okay. I like that one. Marketable as well. Both of them.
Yeah, that was my thought.
Yeah.
Love
Good
Isaac.
branding. We got the brand mindset over here.
We got to work with Parker, but we'll get him there.
Okay. We'll get him there.
Parker, Chocolate Milk Mile champion. If you're not marketing the shit out of that, then I don't know what you're
He wears his shirt all the time, so we know he's a champ. I'm well aware. Every time I come down and make breakfast, I see that.
Yeah, Parker, in case you don't know, Parker won the Milk Mile Championship in New York.
Yeah.
Shout out.
What did he run?
Right? Or no, just once.
Didn't he?
Oh, yeah, once.
Didn't he run like really fast?
Yeah, he ran like
Wait,
4:20.
did he or Jamie D win last year? I think he won, right?
It was Parker. The last
He won.
one.
Yeah, Parker won last year. I remember him texting us.
Did they do a COVID one or no?
No, we did not.
Okay.
Interesting.
I don't remember, but it was like 4:29 or something.
It was something stupid. Like
Yeah.
that should not be ran.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. I'm like, that's got to be a typo. Like putting down 4 chocolate milks and running the mile in 4:20 something is crazy.
Yeah.
Who's your miler, Joe?
I'll go Faith Kipyegon.
Okay, that's a good pick. What do you got, Shay? Who's your miler?
Could we choose retired? It's got to be current, I'm guessing.
I would say current, but if you, yeah
I'm going to
current.
go Josette.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that pick too. Okay. 800 guy. Shay, who's your 800 guy or girl? 800 person, I mean to say.
I think.
That's okay. Yeah, that's a lock.
Joe's
like,
I'll
damn it.
go. Who do I want? Who's an 800 person? Charlie Hunter.
Okay, like that. Do you know Charlie personally?
Oh yeah, he's a good guy.
Sweet. Do you know if the cars on his Instagram are his?
I don't.
He's got some
he
cool
used to drive
classics.
this sick retro truck in Eugene. It was like kind of a beater, but it was like just old enough where it was cool.
It looks cool. Yeah, it's like an old Bronco kind of thing. That's cool. Okay, we're gonna go sprinter. So you'll get like a hurdler, and then we'll go just sprinters collectively. So Joe, hurdler.
Short or long hurdles or just hurdles?
Your pick.
Got to go Sydney for marketing aspects.
There you go. That's speed and marketing. That's
This is gonna own Times Square billboards.
yeah. That's cool.
I'll go Devin Allen.
Devin Allen.
He's best
Okay.
next, I feel like.
Expanding too. You're breaking into that NFL space.
Yeah, we got
there.
NFL links now. What do you know about that, bro?
Yeah. Patagonia in the NFL. Who would have thought? Okay. Your sprinter, your flat sprinter. What do we got?
I'll take Curly.
Curly, yeah.
I'll snipe that one.
Yeah, you got the 100 to the 4 covered there.
I'll do Arian Knighton, that young talent.
Oh,
Yeah, that is
a
great pick. What did he just run? 19, like what?
19-4.
19-4 or something. Yeah.
He's 18 years old or 17 years old. Crazy.
Yeah. But he pulls up to algebra the next day.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh my God.
He literally tweeted that Michael Cherry was like, this kid's like definitely like running a paper. He's like, nah, bro, I'm in algebra.
That's funny. That's like, you ever seen that old like the LeBron meme? It's like some kid sitting in algebra class right now is gonna guard LeBron tonight. Yeah, that's funny. He's gonna go race Harry Knighton. Yeah. Okay, so we got a little competition for you guys right now. All right. So either or answer. We've done this every episode. A little trivia question. Whoever answers first wins.
I'm gonna fail this.
A pride battle. So Jim Ryan, first high schooler to ever break 4 minutes in the mile. What did he run when he did it?
3:59.8.
No.
3:57.
Joe's closer.
3:59.6.
No.
3:59.2.
Shay's closer.
3:59.1.
No.
3:58.8.
No. We're so close.
3:59.3.
No.
58.7.
No.
59.2.
No.
59 flat.
Yeah, Shay got it. 59.00, which makes me think that we're not going to say what happened because it's going to factor into our listener question.
Let's not forget, dude was on cinders. Okay?
In the time period that he did it, like
That's certified freak time.
Yeah. How effective was their FAT there, or do they just see 59 and they're like 3:59 flat?
Good enough.
Yeah,
high school officials, bro.
Yeah, 3:59 flat. We got it. Okay, so our listener question for this one: the first to DM us, comment, whatever it is, we got to see it to win a Hills and Two shirt, which as of today are going to be in the production of making. So we promise we're gonna have some of that stuff out. What year did Jim Ryan do that in? So that'll be the question for anyone listening. Hit us up. First to get it right, correct year. Get a Hills and Two shirt when they're made pretty soon. So awesome.
Hell yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. It's been fun.
Round the city, round the clock.